Okay, hey, happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Draglist Live, where we get the bench race with the world's top drag racers. My name's Bill Pratt. It's awesome to be with you tonight. And we're so excited to have Mike English back with us, one of the top announcers all over the country. He's going to fill us in on a lot of great inside dope from the Southern California area and everything else. Before we bring Mike in, let's go to John. John, how are you tonight, bud?
You're doing great here, BP, and howdy from Houston, everybody. Please join us on the live chat. I'll take notes and I'll pass your questions and comments along to BP and Mike.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And folks, click the like and click the share button. Let your friends know we have a Mike English here live. And to prove it, let's bring him in. Mike English, welcome back to the show.
Thanks very much, and welcome from Southern California.
Woohoo! It's beautiful. You got that beautiful orange color back there. The very nice looking room there with the beautiful photographs. That looks amazing.
It's the only room in the house that my wife allows me to put things on the wall.
I love
So,
it.
listen, she keeps a beautiful house. I'm not going to cross my boundaries at all.
Yeah, this is my little niche here in the corner. I'm stuck in one corner of the family room, but it works out great.
Perfect.
Well, Mike, we last had you on November 28th, 2022. So a lot happened in between then and now. Time flies, isn't it, when you're having fun? So what's been happening in your world during that time?
But good to be back. But wait a minute now. You and I got together at the Nitro Revival. Let's not forget that.
We did. Yeah, that was an amazing weekend. I was just chatting about that last weekend, and it was an awesome time. We were sort of had Mike, we had Pete Moriello was chatting with us on the chat here whenever we said you were coming on this week, and he had some things to say. And so I said, yeah, if you can imagine a whole weekend of this, guys, this is exactly what it was like. But we did have an awesome time. We primarily hung out, I think, together at the Good Vibrations pits and elsewhere, and just had an amazing time.
That is really, you got to give Steve Gibbs a lot of credit for putting that together. And man, what an event. I was so glad I got to go, because
Whoops, we have a little bit of a delay here. Hopefully we can catch up. Hey, Mike, we lost you there. You were starting to say usually you so you were able to make the Nitro Revival. Tell us about that again.
Well, normally the ANRA finals, the American Nostalgia Racing Association finals, and Nitro Revival are on the same weekend. But because of the NHRA schedule change, they allowed to space them out. So it worked out very, very well. So I was really glad I got to go.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the same without it. It was my first, and I had such a great time. It was, they did just an amazing job there. All the pals were there. It was wonderful. A great reunion.
It is. It's a great get together, just a good time. And that tent is like the who's who of drag racing back into the 50s.
That was amazing. Yeah, I went through and I didn't sneak because I had a media badge, but I went through and hit every one of the racers, took a picture, said a couple words before they let everybody else come through. It was pretty cool to see everybody. All my favorites.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very impressive. I always like it because one of the guys that I always admired back in the 70s, Donnie Roberts, he was out there walking around, man. That's why I love talking to that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, Donnie and Margie, one of my I've known him on the East Coast here for a long time. Actually, I don't think I ever knew Donnie until the internet, right? Which is just this greatest tool ever for nostalgia drag racing and so many other ways. But yeah, I was proud to say, bring this East Coast guy out there. And
oh yeah, and you well know, if it wasn't for print media in the 60s and 70s, we'd have no idea, absolutely no idea.
Right. Yeah, I used to read those national dragsters and drag news and catch up on everything. And I was, all these guys were my heroes, like you say, out of little black and white photos and words that the great writers brought to us. That it was pretty amazing.
Very much so. Very much so. It was so cool. These events now have brought these guys to the West Coast or wherever the event may be, and just to get to meet him in person and talk to him and stuff it's a pretty cool deal.
It was awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about that weekend. It was unbelievable what and so, oh my gosh, it was so many stories, so many levels to that event. But what else has been going on over the last couple weeks since I saw you in early November?
Yeah, we've had a couple changes up at Bakersfield, and Tim Huddleston, the former manager and track operator at Irwindale, has now taken over the day-to-day operations, and Blake has stepped back from the day-to-day operations of the track, and he's going to do the March meet and the California Hot Rod Reunion, which most people don't realize how much it goes into, but that's a full-time job by itself. And then he was trying with the passing of his father, it's kind of it's changed a lot for him. So as I saw him a couple of weeks ago, and I told him, I says, I hate your guts because we worked together for 30 plus years at the track, but I got a great amount of respect for what you're doing, and I don't blame you at all. I mean, you lost your father and your business partner, and he just wants to concentrate on those two events. And Tim's coming in, and he had a staff meeting a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of great changes going there that not that Blake and John, his late father, didn't do anything, but Tim's got a lot of ideas that he's going to incorporate into it. And it's pretty good times. We got our first event. Well, they had the Junior Dragster Division 7 season opener a couple weeks ago, and this weekend coming up is the first of a deal, Match Race Madness.
Okay.
And it's going to be a big tire, small tire, some index classes and stuff, and I'm looking forward to it. First time ever at Bakersfield. It was kind of a staple at Irwindale, and Steve Sherman, the guy who promotes it, is bringing it to Bakersfield. Is going to give it a try. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
That's awesome. So it's just a lot, door cars or open wheel or both or what?
Well, mostly door cars. That's the big thing. A lot of 2 out of 3 match races. He's created some cool index classes, all door cars and stuff. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I wanted to go to one of his races at Irwindale, but they always seemed to be on weekends that I had races at Bakersfield, and I couldn't go. So now they just closed that track and moved it to Bakersfield.
That's awesome. So are you, is that your standard gig this year as well? Just, week in, week out at Bakersfield as much as you can?
Yeah, exactly. It works great for me. All the traveling's, that's in my past. Airports don't work good for me.
Gotcha. Well, you got 2 of the biggest shows of a year coming right to you. Is everybody ramping up for the March meet?
Oh, I'm looking forward to the March meet. They had a great meeting a couple of weeks ago with the Top Fuel guys at the NHRA Motorsports Museum. And they've got a lot of cool stuff, and looking forward to that happening. Can't wait for that. March meet's always, March meet's always just big.
And iconic, right? I'm so glad it keeps going. It's nostalgia now, or it's been nostalgia for what, 20, 25 years, it seems, but it's.
Well, consider it started in 1959, it's been pretty big. Yeah. By the way, I wasn't there for 1959.
Yeah, it was.
You want to clarify?
I was walking around. I just wasn't there. I wasn't. Maybe I was crawling. I wasn't walking yet, but I was.
I was walking. Excuse me.
That's amazing. Yeah. At the Top Fueler, you said the Top Fuelers got together. Are there any rule changes or anything you picked up this year, or what's that look like?
No, they haven't really changed much of the rules. They're designing a tether for the parachutes for the Top Fuel cars. They've already got it for the funny cars, but the Top Fuel guys everyone mounts their parachutes different. So they had to come up with something with that. Fuel pumps are going to stay the same, the 20-gallon fuel pump, and pretty much everything the same. But a bunch of new cars. I know Sean Van Horn was there, my favorite car, because the A&W root beer floats. And he debuted his new car last Saturday at Bakersfield, making some test shots in it and stuff, just because he had an unfortunate incident in Boise last year and went into the beach and rolled her over and stuff. So they built a brand new car, and looking forward to see how that thing runs.
Well, good. Is that a tribute to Frank and Ruthie Hedge there, the old root beer car?
No, but one of his sponsors owns AW root beer stand in Fresno.
Okay.
Yeah, there's still a few of those around.
Yeah, I used to have
Oh,
one in my hometown in when I'm in my high
really?
school days. Yeah.
There was where I went to high school in Orange County. There was one right outside the high school.
Oh, no. That's the hangout, I'm sure.
Oh, they were incredible places. Incredible places.
Yeah, I don't know. You can make your own root beer. It doesn't taste the same. Doesn't taste the same as when they come out of there. I don't know why.
Not even close. Not even close. Yeah.
Well, that's really that's awesome. Any other silly season information you got from the West Coast? Any driver moves or crew member moves or anything?
Nothing that I can think of that nobody hasn't already heard about. Well, we were talking about we have to read it in the paper. Now the internet, as soon as it happens, it's up on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no there's like nothing nothing that lasts a couple more than a couple days, that's for sure.
Yeah. I know I spent a little bit of time on Flow Racing this weekend and watched that PRO warm up from Bradenton, Florida. It was pretty good to see the two finalists in Top Fuel, Sean Reed and Josh Hart, two guys that, well, Sean Reed didn't really have the season he was looking forward to, but it was pretty much a debut season. But Josh Hart, I think it already shows the addition of Jason McCullough there. It's going to make a world of difference.
Right. Yeah, that was amazing. I didn't get to follow along as it went. I saw it afterwards, but it sort of trickled out. I saw Caps first, and then I saw the Reed one, and that was amazing to me. I didn't know why though. Were they up in smoke, or did these guys just outrun folks?
They ran good. They ran good.
Pretty
a lot
amazing.
of guys ran better, but timing is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody's, as we've said this many times on here before, but I'm an old numbers guy. So, when you see the top fuel cars in a tighter field than you used to see pro stock cars, that's just amazing.
Amazing. Just amazing. And then Troy Coughlin Jr. won pro stock, and he rattled the tires in the final, but Corey Reed in the other lane red lighted.
Oh, man. You can't get that back. And there's those Coughlins. Holy crap, there's about 24 of them. I've known many of them over the years. I'm from Ohio.
It's a big family. A big family. And there's another one coming now.
Is that right?
Cody Coughlin's going to be part of Greg Anderson's team.
Oh my gosh. Well,
yeah.
Get ready. Well, Mike, what do you think? Should we check in with John and see who's out there on the chat line and wants to fire us up with some questions? Let's see if Pete's got any insults.
Well, Pete's going to be on there.
You got it, Mike. They're here from coast to coast. Pete said, who is this guy? And then he followed that up with, he said, okay, he says, my Monday evening is ruined. Jack Red is here, and he says, hello, gang.
Hey, Jack.
Phil Landrum says, Boomer, hello, all. Rodney Potter is with us tonight. He's our racer of the week, and he says, hello, everybody.
Good.
Crafty Kate says, good evening.
Woohoo.
Randy Johnston says, good evening, gents, the voice of Famoso.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And he said,
hey, let's ask Phil Landrum. We got a question for Phil Landrum. I understand he's putting a Hemi in that funny car.
Oh, yeah.
All right, chat it up, Phil. Let us know, man.
Yeah, he'll let us know.
Great looking car.
And yes, it is.
Randy also added, he said, I was at the March meet in 1962 for the Fuel and Gas Championships. I thought,
cool. Wow, 2 years ahead of me.
Yeah. And Rob McCabe says he's here. He's just coming in for tonight's show with Mike.
Hey, Rob. That's
Mike from Englishtown.
Yeah, it keeps the Draglist updated now, along with a couple of other guys.
That's right. He said it was great getting to work with Mike when he made the trip to Englishtown for the Summer Nationals 10 years ago.
Wow.
Megan Gianni says, hi, Uncle Mike. This is your niece, Megan, and I can't see you in a few weeks at the March meet. She can't make it.
Hey, Megan.
Very disappointed. Wonderful young lady. Love that girl.
You know what Megan's been doing for us? She's been reposting and sharing a lot of our stuff from Draglist. So thank you, my friend. Thank you very much. Nice to have you on.
Love to have her. Just a wonderful girl. Disappointed I won't see her.
Well, when your screen froze up, this was early in the show. Pete said Mike froze under pressure. I doubt that, but that's
that's the thing. We were talking for like 20 minutes before the show even went on there with no problem all of a sudden. It's just the way it works.
Yeah, of course.
Just like drag cars, I guess.
Phil Landrum said it's our Summer's fault. And Rich Panicaro is with us in New Jersey. He says, "Hey, gang." Kay Thurkelson is here. She says, "Good evening, everyone."
Howdy.
And Randy Johnston asked, "What are those changes that Tim is doing?"
They're not so well. There's a full-time maintenance guy at the track now. Martine, that used to be at Irwindale, is moving to Bakersfield, and he's going to be doing maintenance of both the drag strip and the circle track. He's going to be living at the drag strip, so there'll be somebody there to maintain the grounds all the time. That's going to be his job. Another permanent restroom is going in. They're not getting rid of the White House. That was the first thing I asked Tim Huddleston, the new owner, is the White House going to stay there? Because that block house, the permanent bathrooms, has been there for 40 plus years. But he has brought the permanent bathrooms from Irwindale up there, so that always is good for the ladies. And he's bringing in a couple new concessionaires along with himself. We're going to have the Bakersfield concession stand open, and then he's going to have a merchandise trailer and a bar.
Woohoo! Nice.
Speaking of bars, nothing like Jack and Coke.
Cheers. Oh, God bless. I'm just on like diet water here, or my water, sparkling. I'll join you after though. Yay.
Okay, good.
Those are exciting changes.
Yeah.
Famoso. We're going to keep on rolling.
Keep on rolling. It's got a couple new events coming along that he'll announce later on in the season, but should be pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Awesome. Thanks. Great question. What else we got, John? Anybody else?
Well, Rob McCabe just posted, he said, "I got to get started with the pros from last weekend on Draglist. I just finished up Sportsman."
Yeah, nice.
And Pete Mariola said, "All kidding aside, Mike is a great guy." And
he's going to want money for that.
Yeah, and I'm wondering I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop there.
Yeah.
Pete is also a great guy, man. I love him. He's got a great sense of humor. And Phil Landrum, you had asked about his funny car, and he said maybe later in the summer. And he said, "Need to get the new body finished first."
So
okay.
You're putting on. It's not going to be a Camaro, or is going to be an update to the body? What's that all about?
Next generation Camaro, a 70s style body.
Okay, cool. Sounds like we need to show with Landrum.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, get Phil on there to talk about that new 70 with the split bumper and stuff.
Absolutely. That's my fave. I don't know why, but that's what I always go back to. And
yes, those were, it's interesting. This era of the nostalgia funny cars, the 69 Camaro has kind of taken over, and that was never a very big time funny car body back in the day.
Right.
Plymouth Arrow, the Vega, Monza, those were really the bodies. Or Mustang 2 was another one. Then you proceeded up into the 80s, the Citations and stuff.
Right. Yeah, went from those 70 split bumpers right to the Vegas, mostly,
Yes. Yeah.
Phil said it's a 1970 split bumper.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, John, any thoughts from you? Any other thoughts from the chat or from yourself?
Well, Megan said that the last comment was a goof, saying that she wasn't coming to the March meet, but now she's saying she is going to be at the March meet. So she's excited to see you, Mike.
Good. Glad she's going to be there. That's a young lady that has a whole lot of enthusiasm for racing.
Outstanding.
If you're lucky enough to catch a picture with her, You better do it quick because she's going to be on down the road to another pit.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What other scuttlebutt have you heard in Southern California or generally around the sport? Because you keep plugged into the whole place.
Well, I made a trip a couple weeks over. A guy that I've known for 100 years, Andy Morocco. He started a drag strip over at Paris Auto Speedway, 330 feet, California street legal dragway. So he had his season opener in January, and it's 45 minutes from the house. So I decided to go over there just to check it out. It's the coolest thing. I never thought I'd get excited over 330-foot dragway, but my hat's off to him. Stormy Bird was out there with the Revelation modified roadster. He made a couple runs and went 110 miles an hour in the 330. Smoking it all the way, of course, because Stormy always does that. But no track prep. They do have a water box for you, but it is just the coolest thing to watch some of these cars. And it's really, I tell my friends, well, that they say that's not really you just got to go look at it. You got to go check it out, And I know my friend Jake Tynes went last Saturday. They had a race. I was unable to go, but he runnered up in the bracket. They've had a lot of cool bracket deals and stuff. It's just a really, really neat deal.
Well, that sounds like fun. I think Stormy was telling us about it, and I think he said he was going for the track record and actually got it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Which $110, huh?
Yeah. In 330 feet is pretty incredible.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And it was interesting talking to Andy. He was telling me because the track is like right here, and just across the street is houses. And I said, how did you pull that off? And he said, believe it or not, because there's the California Street Legal Dragway, there's a motocross course, a go-kart track, the Paris Auto Speedway, the sprint car dirt track, and they're all in that complex there. And he says, everybody that bought a house in there, it is in their paperwork that you are buying a house next to a motorsports complex.
Oh, wow.
He said,
good.
They got no complaint at all.
Well, they already got the noise.
Yeah, they've got it, but it was just the coolest thing.
So you really have to hit the lights, man, because if you're late, that's not a lot of time.
Not a whole lot of time to change things. And it's very interesting to watch these late model fuel injected cars. I mean, the technology in cars is just incredible nowadays. And they'll get out 150, 200 feet. And if they're not careful, they'll start smoking the tires.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder because any electric cars out there. I've seen kids at Teslas up in Pennsylvania just go 11s and stupid stuff.
Well, there's the Tesla Plaid that was at Bakersfield late last year at a race and went 948, 152.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I got to talking to him. He came up the tower just to chat with us a little bit. And he was telling some stuff about it. And he said they have what they call the upgrade kit, where it comes with the bigger brakes, the better tires and stuff. Right. And at Shafter Airport, which is just west of Bakersfield, they have half-mile drags there. He wanted 185 in the half-mile drags. It was only beaten out by a Viper that won 188.
Wow. That's
just incredible. And I'm not a big electric car guy, but you got to appreciate the technology.
Yeah. Well, I had to ride in one. I have a buddy. I've ridden in two recently. Folks, neither one was one was a Porsche and the other one was a BMW or something, but essentially, they people stepped on and it was neck snapping. I mean,
yes, incredible, just incredible what they can do. Just doesn't work for me, but that's okay. Yeah. I firmly believe there's a market for it.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's amazing. Well, let me take you to the other side of the tracks here. I don't know if you've been following along, but what do you think about, or have you heard anything about the new IHRA rebirth? I mean, it kind of started and stopped and then.
Yeah. I mean, they got a great president, Rick Schaefer. Alan has left the NHRA, Alan Reinhardt, and he's gone on as director of competition. And they got two good guys right there.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. And, as most people say, I've talked to a lot of guys, and I was talking to Mike Rice from NHRA, and he says, we need everybody to succeed in the world of motorsports right now. He says, Irwindale closing.
Right.
One track closes, it makes it easier for the next track to close. So we need everybody to stay open. We need all the sanctioning bodies to be successful. And if everybody's successful, we can all do real well. And I'm sure Alan and Rich will do them a very good job. There's two guys that are pretty knowledgeable of what's going on. So we're anxious to see what they can do. And, they're planning on a 10 race schedule and stuff. And I talked to Alan right afterwards, and I told him, I said, well, you always used to want to run the races from the announcer's booth. Now you got a chance to. So we had a good laugh about that. But
be careful what you ask.
They'll do them a good job.
I've actually done that on a much smaller scale in the past. It's fun, but
it's not easy to do. It's not easy to do.
Race, line up the cars, and then write the story when it's all done. But it's pretty cool. Those were fun days.
Yeah. Well, those are two guys that had a lot of years. I mean, Alan spent 30 years on the road, and people, they don't realize and he loved it. He lived for it, but it wears on you. And he's 63 now, I think it is 62 or 63. So cutting back to maybe their plan is for a 10 race schedule. I think that's pretty good for him.
Sounds great. Well, we need to get Miss K to go get Alan and his team and his partner on the line, and we'll bring him on here and hear directly from him. That would be awesome.
I'll reach out to him.
Oh,
after
thank you.
I'll send Kay a message, and she can call and talk to him.
Sounds great. All right.
Yeah.
We just wanted to get you on here so you could set up future shows for us.
There you go. Well, we were talking in the earlier there. Krista's going to come on. I'm anxious to see her on later on in March, and we should have the Maddie and Macy Gordon on.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Man, we talk much longer. I can book you the whole year.
Let's go. I'm in. Well, let's check in with John and the chat gang and see what's happening out there, and to see if there's any words of wisdom. I mean, it's not going to be any from Moriello, of course, but anybody else may have some.
It's pretty busy here tonight, y'all. The Phil Landrum, I believe, is I'm not sure. It's NY32986.
That's Rob McCabe.
That's Rob McCabe.
Rob. Yes, Rob.
He mentioned we were talking about funny cars and funny car bodies. And he said the late Al Hanna with his Ford Pinto.
Yes.
And
Al Hanna just passed away the other day.
Sadly. Yeah, we'll mention him at the end of the show. A great man, and probably the tallest funny car driver and the shortest little car, which was kind of interesting.
Yes, yeah. The Eastern Raider.
Yes, sir.
Kay mentioned 1969 Corvettes, and Rodney Potter said Mach 1 funny car bodies were cool.
Yes, they were. Corvettes had that evil. Until McEwen perfected it, Corvettes were kind of evil. They weren't the best funny car bodies in the world.
Yeah, they were.
Corvette curse, for sure.
They didn't have to change them very much to get them to go fast, that's for sure.
Not at all.
I mentioned in the chat that the 69 Camaro is pretty popular with Pro Mod.
Yes.
Replacing the 63 Stingrays, where I remember there were a few years where there was nothing out there but a 63 Stingray. And now there's a lot of 69 Camaros. It's a fascinating class, that's for sure.
It absolutely is. And the cycle of the body styles, like you said, it went from this.
Whoops, and we lost you. Hang on. We'll ask him to restate. I don't know if we have.
All's forgiven. There you go.
We lost everything after the word cycle, Mike. Can you say that again?
Oh, well, the bodies go into a different cycle. It's kind of like everybody, remember when nitrous was the only thing to have, and then a couple of guys started with turbochargers, pro chargers. Now it seems like pro chargers and turbochargers seem to be the way to go.
Right. Brett Kepner and I were talking about this the other night. We had a 4-hour phone call, and one of the topics, one of the topics was, the pro mods, where somebody had posted on the internet, well, I sure wish it was back in the days when all the pro mods were all different, but they weren't. The top,
they weren't.
Specific top guys were, but 63 vets, as you said, Camaros since day one, Trans Ams, it's pretty interesting. Yeah, you pick something that works and you go with it. And unfortunately, we're getting a little bit of tech problems here on Mike's side. We lost you again, Mike, for a second.
Oh, I was just saying, a conversation with Brett Kepner is like winning the lottery. Just that man's is the knowledge, is just incredible. When you think you know something, and then you talk to Kepner, and you're just like, wow, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's been fun. We've known each other since about 36 years now, I guess, as we were calculating. So pretty amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
John, what else you got out there? Anybody else with a thought?
Man, these comments are coming in faster than I can keep up with them, actually. But Randy Johnston said that Tim Huddleston has partnered with Kevin Harvick at Kern County Raceway Park and plans to build a new 8th mile drag strip there.
Well, that was one of the things we talked about earlier. The 8th mile drag strip is in the plans, but right now he's concentrating on Famoso drag strip, which Kevin Harvick is also part of that too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kate said about Megan, she said she is very sweet and definitely a dedicated and enthusiastic race fan. She said she met her in Vegas last fall with their mutual friend, Nitro Alley.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yes. Mark Malinsky checked in from New Jersey. He says, good evening, everybody.
Great.
Pete Mariello said 8th mile, quarter mile, 16th mile. It's all racing and it's exciting.
Yes.
And he also said electric cars can't oil the track. Phil Landrum.
Well,
oh, go ahead, man.
I'm not going to say a word about that.
Counterpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm more of a 16th mile guy,
There you go.
It's okay when I try not to race anybody, but my Kia has a Hemi in it, and sometimes I can get a whole shot at the green light. But other than that, I don't race anymore. And Phil Landrum said he's hearing that IHRA and WDRA are joining forces.
They did for their bracket program. They're going to try and have a national championship and everything. So they got a lot of good ideas. They got a lot of good personnel there. That WDRA, that's Royce Miller from Maryland International Raceway is part of that group. And then, IHRA with Rich Schaefer and Alan Reinhardt. And they got a lot of pretty good brain trust there. A lot of good people involved there with a lot of good ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Get the rundown.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting.
Well, I'm wishing them the best. IHRA had some pretty tough years there, but
yes, they did.
So anyway, Kay said,
hey, it's not an easy job, to do that. It's not an easy job at all. I know a lot of racers and stuff. They, put the mouth on a lot of sanctioning bodies. Come on and do it. Have at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, man. Crafty Kate said she'll see you at the March meet.
Great. Looking forward to it. See, she's another one. She puts on a great show up in Ridgecrest for the animal shelter up there to benefit the animal. Great car show. It's the weekend after the March meet, which I thought I'd be able to go this year, but we have a summit race that weekend.
Well, Kate, why don't you come on, talk to Kay, and we'll see if we can get you on here to promote that. I think we got a slot or two open.
Yeah, it's a great event, a lot of cool cars and stuff. And Ridgecrest is, I always tell people when you go to Ridgecrest, which is just the opposite side of 395 from that great metropolis of Inyokern, when you think you've got to Ridgecrest, you got about another hour to go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's out there. It's out there. But she does a great job and raises a lot of money to help the animal shelter up there. And I know they appreciate it.
That's amazing. What was that drag strip that was out there? Was that Kern County?
No, that was the Inyokern drag strip.
Yeah,
at the airport.
I know I've read about it in the mags and the papers over the years.
Yeah, it was probably one of the coolest places to go to. The tower was a trailer. The ambulance looked like it was fresh out of Ghostbusters. It was just the neatest place to go to.
I can see it in my mind. That's awesome.
Yeah. Used to race Los Angeles County Raceway on Saturday night, head up the 14 to Inyokern and race Inyokern on Sunday.
Now, Palmdale. I think it's LA ain't a mile and a half. That's a town. And when I went to Irwindale, I flew into LAX and grabbed a rental car and started heading way up northeast there to Irwindale. It's a cruise. I took about 10 highways.
Yeah. It is a very well, before the freeway system, for me to go to Irwindale growing up in Orange County, it was a pretty good drive, but we had a bunch of guys one time we used to get together before the Pomona races on Thursday night. And we were talking about it. And I said, for me growing up in Orange County to go to like Lyons, that was like in another state because there was no freeway until the late 60s, early 70s. So you had to go over by Disneyland and catch Catella and take it over. I forget where you turned on, but it was quite a drive. It was a good long drive, which is, well, it's not that long now, but it is because there's a lot of traffic.
Right. Now it's all about the traffic.
Yeah.
Let's check. John, is anybody else with another thought out there before we
shut up? It's going on real fast. Macon Jackson showed up and he says, "Good evening, everybody."
Great.
Howdy, Lincoln.
Let's see. Some comments that we got is Dragster Jeff Kreider says 3 IHRA tracks in the Central Valley Kingdom, Eagle and Mendota.
Yes, there's 3 tracks up there in Central California. He's right. I forgot about those. Eagle Field, Mendota, and I forget what he mentioned the name of the other one.
Right. And Kay said, I guess Jim Shue's 1969 Corvette was appropriately named Hellfire.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Yeah.
And
exactly what I thought of when she said 69 Corvette earlier.
Yes.
Let's see.
We need to buy some tool that like scrolls all the comments along the bottom like CNN. That would be fun.
There you go.
Dangerous but fun.
Yeah, that's some of your that's your new technology that you bought, Bill. You can do that stuff.
Thing called Descript that I'm still trying to work through, but look out for some reels this week. I'm bound and determined to put some reels. I'll start with this show. Or I actually started.
I get to be the guinea pig, huh?
You could be the guinea pig. Well, Doug Davenport is the guinea pig from last week's show, but
yeah,
I haven't put that up yet. But I'm going to perfect it and then put you on, Mike.
Oh, okay. That's a frightening deal. A guy. I'm looking at my picture that you have in the background there, and I'm there with John Lundberg.
Wow,
and,
my man.
Oh, that man is just so incredible. And when I went to the March meet 1964, that was his announcing gig because Bernie Mather, Bernie had a little bit too much to drink on Saturday night, couldn't announce. And I met John, but I never really met John. And over the years, we've become very good friends. And I go to Tucson for the Tucson Drags reunion and get together with that man. And he's 87 years old now. And he is still just incredible. Just incredible.
And isn't it? Yeah. I mean, holy cow. It's so great to know these giants of and I'm like I mean, I'm pretty coming to the game pretty late, and he's just come on, man. Let me tell you
Yeah.
everything. Let me share everything.
Yes,
Ju-
exactly.
I
Yeah.
tell you,
Just that man is just to hear him talk is just, I can just sit there and admire his work.
everybody, to me, I see drag racers sort of like tap dancers, right? They all have their little style. I mean, drag racing announcers, I should say. Everybody has their own little style. They all steal bits from one another a little bit and then kind of merge it all up. But I, it is really great. I'm honored to be part of that community in a tiny way.
It it's amazing to. I'll have people come up to me. I got a guy a couple weeks ago came up to me and he says, "My son does a great imitation of you," and I was just like, very overwhelming, very humbling, and I was just like, you really need to set your kids' standards a little bit different. But it was just,
really.
oh, he said, I'll show you at the March meet. I'm gonna have him at the March meet. I'm like, wow, that was just, to me, that's just overwhelming. I just get to go up in that booth and enjoy myself and hang out with Donnie Couch. That's something too,
Right.
But just a great, great time. Very, very blessed. And I never wanted to be an announcer. I always wanted to be a driver. If Mike Cool was still around, I was always over at his shop. You need a driver this weekend, don't you? He'd get out of here. Here, sweep the floors or something, but get out of here.
What a great place to grow up. Yeah, it came
Oh,
to
it
me,
was.
late. I was just, telling Lewis Bloom all the stuff from the local guys in Maryland. He goes, here, tell them. I don't want to, why I don't want to get band pass filter here. Tell them what you want. So
Yeah. Lewis
it was
Bloom,
great.
another great guy. Just
Yeah,
another
awesome.
one. Just, yeah. Lewis
It's
and I
been
did a round of super gas at Englishtown at the national event one year. And
uh-huh.
that was just, to me, was just me and him just going, you take left lane, I'll take right lane. And what a great time. Just
Right.
what a great time.
It is fun when you get into like the rhythm and you're like, you're vibing and you're into it. It's great.
It is. And you say that. Mike Ames, who used to be the general manager of Rocky Mountain Raceway, where I met Kay, and
Mhm.
now he's our Division 6 director up in the Great Northwest. He and I did a round of Super Gas Pomona probably 10, 12 years ago. And we just got into a rhythm on a Friday afternoon, and we had so much fun. And one of my favorite races was, it was Super Gas, and the guy in my lane was perfect light, dead zero. And the
Wow.
guy in the other lane, I remember, was Tom Bayer, who has the School of Drag Racing now. Tom was dead zero, 003, and thanks for coming.
Wow.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
remember I called that and I was like, and I looked at the screen, which I don't normally do. But after I saw the dead zeros and I kind of glanced over, and I was like, hey, Mike, it's all yours. You got nothing to show,
yeah. Yeah.
But just what a great race. But he and I have always clicked every time we've got on the PA together. It's just a combo that we, for some reason, just a great guy that we've always enjoyed together, which I get together with him at the March meet in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
so great. Have you ever called 4 zeros on a bracket race, where it was that close?
No, our timers don't go out that far.
I've seen it one time,
Yeah.
but it was pretty cool. And
Yeah. It's, and you just sit there and look at him and you go, and this guy who lost, you were just in the way, just in the way. Thanks for coming. You just made a donation, and it wasn't
right.
like you were bad. I would. Alan Reinhart said something one time that I thought was just fantastic. Drag racing is like bowling. You don't have to bowl 300, but you got to be better than the guy in the other lane.
Right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. Well,
Just
man, what a
amazing.
fun evening of visiting with you. Let's check with John one more time, see if there's any final comments from the Rat Pack out there, and then we'll send you on your way here in a minute.
Yeah, I don't know which one to say first. Kay said that she's in communication with Rich Schaefer from the IHRA, working on having him on a future show.
All right.
Good.
And Pete Moriello asked me if I'm going to the Funny Car Nationals this year. Well, if I can ever get off this merry-go-round, Pete, I'll get up there. We'll find out, man. And there were a lot of compliments to John Lundberg. Thunder Lungs is great. And Kay said Alan Reinhart moved to IHRA.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll miss him.
Vice President of Competition.
He must have got a good deal over there. And she also said Mike Earns rocks. And
Mike Haynes. Yes.
she also said much respect for Tom Bayer.
Oh. Tom Bayer has done something a lot of people couldn't do. He started that drag racing school for super comp people, racers. He's got like 6 dragsters, and you go to Bakersfield, you get your driver's license, and you can race the next day.
Wow. It's amazing.
It is.
A couple of them out there, but you got to really know your stuff. And
Yes.
great that he's been able to make that work.
Rob McCade said Jason Galvin and Joe Castillo are good, and Alan is iconic.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jason's okay. He's
Phil
leaving me. He's moving to. I can't talk good about Jason. He's moving from Bakersfield to Indianapolis, so he's off my chart now.
There.
Phil Landrum said Mike is a true legend.
All right.
Does that mean I'm old?
And Pete said, I'd like to say I enjoyed this program tonight, but I didn't. And he says, just kidding. I'm pretty fond of Mike English.
All
Well, I appreciate Pete very much. He came over to the house yesterday and spent quite a bit of time with my father-in-law. And if you want to hear lies, Flo, you should have heard those two together.
that sounds great.
It was a great time.
Rob McCabe agrees with Phil, and so do I.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
Thank you.
that's a
Thank
wrap.
you.
And
Thank
we
you.
caught up for the
Fine.
movie, so
Thank you, John. Appreciate it, brother.
yeah, man.
And so I guess we're down to finally, if you got anybody you want to say a shout out to, we've chatted with about a half of your family and 3/4 of your friends tonight, it seems like.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm really surprised, though, that Phil Landrum didn't mention that he was sponsored by Ron Summers Motorsports.
There you go. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, Mike, it's been a real pleasure visiting with you tonight. Have a great time at the March meet and all the other events you're going to. We look forward to seeing you somewhere. Certainly, we will try to make it out there for the Nitro Revival, because once you go, you don't want to miss it the next time.
Don't blame you. Don't blame me at all. Looking forward to it. Thank you very much for stooping to such a low level and having me on.
We had to fill the slot,
There you go. There
that
you
or
go.
dead air. So
There you go. Absolutely. What's the difference? Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Mike.
Sprinkle says thanks.
All right, Leah, we'll have an on-air cat fight here of
Yeah,
John's.
there you go.
Mike, thank you, sir. Have a great evening, a great year, and we'll talk to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the great Mike English. See you later, sir. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.
All right, let's say farewell and turn it over to John Bachman for this week's JB Steak and the Racer of the Week. John?
Thanks, VP. My pick for Racer of the Week is Rodney Potter from Wayne, New York. Rodney's C-Gas 41 Ford two-door sedan named Squirrel is a top competitor in as many as 10 gasser groups. It's an all-original steel body and frame car. I'm proud to feature him tonight. Rod is single. He's 55 years old, and he was born and raised in Wayne, a very little town surrounded by farms and vineyards. He's into racing, farming, and trucking, which has been his life. He drives a truck for a living. Rod grew up listening to his dad's stories about his street racing in the late 60s and 70s and watching racing on TV. It caught his attention. He started racing at the age of 19 in 1989 with his 65 Ford Fairlane, which had a 289 with a 3 on the tree. He wanted to make it a super stocker. He had it at his dad's place, and his dad told him, "There's the tree, work there and put my tools back every night." Hence, this was the start of shade tree racing. Rod does all of the work on the Squirrel, the tune-up, packing, and traveling by himself, hauling the car with his pickup on an open trailer. He's met hundreds of cool people along the way. Lots of his friends have helped in many ways, and he helps them as much as he can. Rod told me he hasn't had any sponsors in a few years. He does all this out of his own pocket, and he wanted me to say he's open to accept sponsorships if possible. Contact Rodney Potter, Shade Tree Racing, Squirrel on Facebook. If things work out, Rod's first race will be in April, on April the 3rd at Ennis, Texas, the Texas Motorplex, with the Dirty South Gassers running at the Funny Car Chaos event. In 2018, Rod packed up his tools, his clothes, and Squirrel and moved to Greer, South Carolina, with the help of Travis Martin of Sucker Punch Racing, and there he met Jesse Holmes with the Southern Outlaw Gassers. He was sponsored by Frank's Garage and Warner Enterprises. He started racing across the country and wherever he could go. In the winter of 2019, Jesse Holmes' Performance came to Rod with an offer to put a Ford Stroker in Squirrel. The engine is a 410 small block Ford Stroker with 12.5 compression, makes more than 500 horsepower. He took on the challenge to rebuild the car by himself and be racing by March of 2020. He set back the engine, made his own front and rear engine mounts. He mounted a Power Glide transmission and made the mounts for it. He tried to keep the car set up like the 64 Gasser rules. The rear suspension is a full rack of leaf springs on homemade floaters. It has 58-inch long ladder bars and gas shocks. Rod said he set it up by looking at old pictures and looking at two-wheel drive pulling trucks. In his first race in March, he finished third. He ran 660 at 102 miles an hour. Since his first race with Squirrel in 2017, he won a few competition races and several top 5 finishes. Rod also does old school match racing and has won quite a few of those. He's been down 40 different tracks in 19 states as of today. Life and family came and went away. He started another car, a 65 Ford Falcon, with the plan to make it a gasser. By 2016, the cars and wife were gone, but in 2017, his son found a 41 Ford two-door sedan, and he said, "Here's your car to make a gasser." He's always liked gassers. Excuse me, I gotta clear my throat real quick. Okay, now I'm back. Build your own car with old school ideas and use physics to make it work. Rod said he failed physics in school, but what he's done with that subject is proof that grades don't mean anything when the wind light comes on. And he's right about that. Anyway, Rod bought the 41 Ford, and in 2017, he decided to make it an all-out gasser for drag racing with help from Jeff Fox Engine Building and Gary Tyler Performance Rear Ends and himself. They built Squirrel. It had a 383 stroker with a 4-speed Muncie and a 9-inch rear end. That's been changed, of course, but what is there now is one of the finest hot rods out there racing, and it's a 100% shade tree product. Rod, thank you for your great story. It's been an inspiration learning it. We wish you good luck, safe racing, and the best of times in the future. Everybody stay safe and well. You are the most important part of this show, and we love you all. It's a great way to spend an hour together on a Monday night. We'll see you all next time. God bless America. Back to you, BP.
Thank you, John, man. Good stuff as always, my friend. An amazing racer of the week this week. Good stuff. Let's go on, and we got lots of news to report here for our upcoming racers. Let's talk about who's coming on the show. So February 17th, next Monday night, we have 2024 Mountain Motor Pro Stock champion Chris Powers is going to be rejoining us. He was on a couple of years ago, but he won it all in 2024 on the Mountain Motor set, and we're going to have Chris on to talk about it. The following week is open, but just based on some conversations tonight, I think Miss K is working to fill those up. So nobody on February 24th yet, but we're looking. March 3rd, folks, get ready. Butch Leal, the California Flash, will be joining us here on Draglist Live. Very excited about that. Saw Mr. Leal out there at Irwindale, and he had he was selling a new book actually with which looks amazing. But Butch Leal, folks, coming on the show March 3rd. On March 10th, we're excited to report that Matt Cummings, the new driver for Randy Meyer Motorsports, is going to be joining us on Draglist Live. So that's very exciting. March 17th, open thus far. But then March 24th, blown nostalgia dragster driver Krista Sudan is coming on the track, coming on the show. I'm very excited about that too. We just checking out her Facebook page today. She's out there rocking and rolling, and she tunes as well as she drives, folks. This is a real racer. So Chris Powers next Monday, Butch Leal March 3rd, Matt Cummings March 10th, and Krista Sudam on March 24th, with a couple of slots yet to fill. So thanks to Miss K for the hard work. We're very excited about that. And let's talk about our special notice. Once again, our friend Norman Blake having some issues. We do have a GoFundMe on Draglist. And our best wishes to our good friend there. And Miss K working hard, although she's kind of hobbling around a bit, but she's taking care of us by hitting up the internet as she recovers fully as well. Let's go on then to those we lost. Some big names this week. Very sad to report. Linwood Dupuis passed away on the 2nd of February. He was a person that helped run a vast majority of Division 4 at any one time on NHRA. Steve Gibbs posted a very nice tribute to him online. Just a wonderful guy, and he says they have some dupe stories of things that Mr. Dupuis had sort of been involved with over the years. A lot of love for Linwood Dupuis, one of the great names in Division 4 drag racing, passing away on the 4th. Also, this is a heartbreaking story. I'm going to announce it. There's tons of actually press coverage out there due to the age of Elianice Zoe Diaz Rodriguez, a young lady, 7-year-old junior dragster driver, unfortunately passing away at Orlando Speed World on the 4th of February. Devastating loss. We just can't. I'm not qualified to talk about this sort of stuff. There's nothing to say to the parents, nothing to say to the world about someone so young leaving us so soon, but our love to the family of Elianice. And also someone that I didn't have the privilege of knowing here, a big part of the East Coast nostalgia show scene, Elizabeth Ann Moats passed away on the 8th. Don Moats, a real good guy. We saw Don and Elizabeth. She went by Ann actually to her friends. We saw Don and Ann all over the events over the years with their kids. I think as I would go to the York US 30 reunions, me and my kids, we kind of all hooked up and said hello, certainly a couple of times a year. But she passed away over an eight-year battle of being ill. And I just want to send our love to Don and to the kids. So farewell to Ann Moats, who passed away also on the 8th. And then finally on the 8th as well, one of the great names in drag racing history. We mentioned him earlier on the show, but Big Al Hanna, the Eastern Raider, passed away on the 8th of this month. He just had a hard fight, tough to the end. I actually saw Al maybe a year ago at the one of the MIR events, as he had his jet dragster down there with his son Richard, and it's still looking good. We sat on the golf cart and chatted, and just an awesome guy. It's somebody I've followed my whole life, since I got into drag racing with that Eastern Raider Pinto that we mentioned earlier. Of course, he goes back beyond that, became one of probably the premier jet dragster team in the sport of drag racing after a bit, and just an awesome person who gave many of my friends, rides. I mean, the folks who've raced for Al is a terrific group of drivers, and just an awesome guy with his sons who are both heavily involved. Richard, of course, as a driver himself and as a crew chief. His other son, who basically is a rocket scientist, let's put it, and then Ellen, who kind of kept the whole family together. My love to all of the Hannahs and to all of my friends who have driven for him. But Big Al Hannah, leaving us on the 8th of February. That is going to be hard shoes to fill, and we send our love. So with that, I'll turn it over to John for some final thoughts on the show, and then we'll say our final wrap. John?
Well, it was super great having Mike English with us tonight, and he's one of the foremost drag racing authorities in the world, and he's up there with you, BP, and the people on the chat board were fantastic. We just had a great time with everybody, and I hope I got all of your comments and questions taken down. It was hard to keep up there for a while because they were coming in so fast, but I'll go back and read everything after the show is over. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week. I believe we have Mike Powers coming on next week.
Yes, it's going to be Chris Powers, but
Chris Powers. I'm sorry, I got Mike's on the brain tonight. But
yeah.
Chris Powers, yeah, I've got his graphic done, and I'm going to do a JB's take on a friend of mine that I just found out I lost.
Oh, so sorry.
So we're looking forward to having everybody back with us next week, and everybody have a great week.
You bet. Thank you, John. Yeah, I got to look into seeing if we can get like one of those streamer things across the bottom. I am looking. Yeah, actually, I set it up today, and I don't see it here myself, but I wonder if it appears on the YouTube channel. We're trying a couple of things where I filled the front page of our channel with all of our past shows, and I hope you're seeing that. And also, it should be presenting the Draglist logo as kind of on the bottom right. So I'll go back and watch the show and see if that happened. But we are trying a couple of new technologies, and as soon as we get them like solved, we'll roll them out, including a bunch of reels.
Do I need to fix that, BP?
What's that, John?
The Draglist logo.
No, I don't know. Well, let's have a look and see what it looks like. It's the red and black and white one, the big square. So we'll see if that actually shows up. I mean, you guys may be seeing that, may not. It should be showing on the bottom right. But anyway, we're giving it a try. We'll try a few things as we go forward. Also, talking to Radio Bob, who's someone that Kay Turkelson and Nitro Alley work with. And he's actually got an internet radio station on the West Coast. And he's going to slot a number of our shows in between the racing or the music that he plays and some of the other racing events that he has. So really looking forward to that. It should increase our outreach, and who knows, just more eyeballs on our content, which is always good. So looking forward to that. But let's go ahead and say farewell, though. So we want to thank Mike English, who was always great. And one of the things I didn't talk to Mike, I talked to him the last time we talked, but just let everybody know he's the guy that he got me a slot to announce at the California Hot Rod Reunion the first year I came out there, and it was just amazing. We had had a bunch of different announcers that covered the different categories. I got to do gassers with one of the greats. And I really want to thank him for that, although I didn't tell him personally tonight, but we did talk about that at Irwindale. It was really awesome. Anyway, Mike, thank you, sir, for coming on. John Bachleman, my brother, appreciate you. Kay Turkelson, lining up the guests for us, and always awesome. Rob McCabe, glad to see him on tonight. Melba Shore and Ron Toombs. The guys have been firing up the drag lists lately and putting lots of great new entries from the 50s to the 2020s here. Thanks to all of them. Also, thanks to Jeff Gilder of Zeus Digital Marketing, Racers Reading Radio, and Wing Ding Media. I'm very excited about some of the old shows that I have found as we transferred computers recently, and I need to get those up here on the YouTube channel as well. Folks, click once again the like and share button, if you will, please. Even if you're watching this on a recording, let's keep it going. And also, please, what's the subscribe button? Click that, dude, if you can find it. I think it's on the upper top. I'm not looking at the screen now for YouTube, but we'll figure out what that is, and I'll direct you one of these years. But please do subscribe. I also threw a note up on our Draglist Facebook page with the link to come subscribe to the channel. So hopefully we can get that going on. Check in on Draglist Daily to see what's new. Lots of we do some sort of drag racing news every single day, plus lots of cool features. And finally, let's say farewell and see you next Monday night for Chris Powers. Hit the magic farewell button. And ladies and gentlemen,